What's my definition of love? I don't know. That's a good ass question. That's philosophical. Are you talking about any kind of love, family love? Are you talking about, you know, significant other love? Like, the only thing that I know that is that real love, no matter what kind of love it is unconditional. It doesn't go away. To me, you don't fall out of love with people. It doesn't happen. Like, people that say, "Oh, I used to be in love with him, but I fell out of love," that's bullshit to me. You never loved them. Because when you love somebody, you can't. It doesn't work that way. There's nothing that you can do. You're powerless. You're in love. There's nothing. It's done. It's chalked. That's why I think most people, a lot of people don't experience real love. I don't think that most people even experience that. Because to me, when you love somebody, you cannot fall out of that. Do I feel that love can be different? No, I just feel like love is love as far as, like, it's unconditional. Regardless of what happens, what they do, how you feel, your emotions, whatever it is, you don't fall out of love with a human being. Megan is not out yet. Love stinks. I disagree with that. I think love is great. It can suck. Like, broken hearts can suck. The risk that you take when you, as far as a partner, do I think it's a choice? Love? No. I don't. I think that people use the term "I love you" way too much. Like, if you told 4 guys that you love them or 4 women that you love them, you don't fucking love them. Like, I don't believe that. Like, if I love you, I will never fall out of love with you. I don't care if I'm 60 years old and I don't even talk to you anymore. I'll still think about you every single day. That's like, I don't believe that shit. I just think that people differentiate, like, they just group all of it. Infatuation, lust, everything's love now. People are so in love with the idea of being in love that they just, like, think they're in love. They're not. Like, I don't believe in that adage where people are like, "Oh, well, you can fall out of love." No, you can't. I don't care what that person does to you. You're in love with them. There's nothing you can hate that person and still be in love with them. That's how I feel. Like, sometimes you can be in love with somebody and know they're not good for you. That's also true, though. Like, just because you're in love with somebody doesn't mean that you have to be with them, though. Like, it doesn't mean, like, I don't necessarily believe that. Like, you can be in love with somebody and know that they're not the right person. They're not good for you. You need to, but it doesn't go away. There will always be a piece of you with them, no matter what. But I just feel like these days everybody's like, "Oh yeah, you date somebody for 2 months, like, oh, I love you." Like, no. Got that right. I don't think that love stinks. I don't think that you think that either. But when you're in love with somebody, you have to surrender that kind of shit. Like, you have to just, like, but, like, actual love. I should try to collab with Cody again. I'm sure we will again. It's only a matter of time. Like, we still talk from time to time, and he does a lot of, like, he's got his thing and he's doing his thing, so it's different. He's very biblical. He used scripture to explain what love is. I mean, it's nothing wrong with that. This song came on at the right time. Tory Lanez, man. Yikes. What's up, Javi? But yeah, like, love is, it's like, real love is, it's not common. I also think it's something that, I think people fell in love more back then because you got married and then you fell in love with the person. Like, now people are, it's a different era, so it's not the same. Like, when people got married in the 60s, 70s, maybe even the 80s, like, you got married, you were kids, and you grew together. You got old, you grew, so you found out everything about that person because you spent 99% of your adult life with that person. But now, you spend your 20s, most people spend their 20s, out seeing the world and all this other stuff, so it becomes confusing because, like, real love, I think, takes a long time. It's not something that happens overnight. It's not something that happens even, like, in a year. Like, I think people got married back then. They were not in love when they got married. They fell in love, like, as they got old. Like, all of a sudden, they were 40, and their kids are getting older, and they're like, wow, I love this person. That's how I think it really is. I don't think you fall in love like the way people, it's not this storybook bullshit. Like, when you talk about those old ass couples, though, sometimes they don't even like each other. But Romeo and Juliet was a written story, and that's what people think love is. They think love is chick flicks and, this serendipitous, this once in a lifetime thing where you meet this person, they sweep you off your feet, and it's like, oh, that's not how it works. That's not, to me, how it works. Like, you don't fall in love with that person until you're a partnership, like a real partnership where everything you do and you're intertwined, and that's real. Worst heartbreak you had was when before the pandemic started. Had a lot of alone time. The pandemic made shit like Tinder pop the off, bro. That's what happened, because there was a lot of people that were spending too much time alone, so they let them out the house. Right? People was on the little apps and shit. Love isn't 50-50, sometimes it's 80-20. In what sense, though? I like hearing people's thoughts on stuff like this, but it's definitely not a fairy tale. When you see them old couples that be 60 years old, they don't even sleep in the same bed, bro, but they love each other to death. That's love to me. Like, y'all don't even like each other sometimes. You can't stand each other, but y'all ain't going nowhere, because that's what it is. Like, that's your partner. Like, when you hear about these old couples, when they're like 80 years old, and then the wife dies and the husband follows, like, they can't live without that person. What are they there for? You know what I'm saying? Like, you see that when it's like that real partnership and people get old, like a lot of times it ends up like that, where like one person passes away and within 2-3 months, the next person's gone with them. Because, like, for what? Maybe they're disabled, or the partner might be financially better off. But I don't think love is just finances. Like, it's 80-20 might be okay. I might give 80-20 finances, but you might give 20-80 of something else. So to me, love is a reciprocal. Like, you balance each other out. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if I'm paying 100% of the bills, like, my girl or my wife can do 1,000 other things to make up for the fact that I'm financially doing all this shit. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really necessarily believe in that kind of stuff. Like, it's a balance. Like, everything balances it out. Like, that's why I think you don't really cheat on somebody if you're in love with them either, to a certain degree. Because, like, it becomes like you don't want to hurt them, but dudes are dudes. So we're not very good at that. We're not good at that. We're not the best at that. So sometimes it don't work out like that. Because I'll piss a lot of women off when I say this, but a lot of dudes can be 100% in love with their wife and still cheat on them. I just dropped a Steph Curry bomb. What about right person, wrong time? Sometimes, yeah. I do think that, like, sometimes people meet at bad stages in their life and it doesn't work out for that reason, but I don't necessarily think it's love in that case, like, because I think love grows. But I think that you have an opportunity that you have two people that stuff grows into love. So sometimes you meet people in a bad stage of their life and it's not, you're late, but you're here. Saluted. Gina is Gina to men. It's not that. It's hard to explain, and I'm not condoning cheating, but I understand why people do it. I do. I can understand why people do it. I know it's not like it's not something that I condone or think is right. I just try to understand why people do it. I do. And I've said this before. It's the same reason why women tend to have that friend zone guy around. Because you don't see anything wrong with it, because it's from a different, like, perspective than what guys have.